Hello, my dear audiences, my lovely friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the show. Ever since 2.5 years ago, started with the subject of putting up the statue of Comfort Woman. I started picking up this subject to talk about World War II, namely talking about in China, the Japanese invasion to China. Yeah, of course, since day one, my good friend Mark Liu, founder and the CEO of the Righteous Curie Foundation, is with me in picking up all the subjects.
Yes.
Many of the times we have other guests joining us, but mainly just Mark and me. We try to hold our fort, which means that we go against war by any means.
Yeah.
By any means.
Yes.
Right? So, right now we're talking about why don't I just start with you as an introduction, please, in case.
Well, I think most of the audience knows me. I'm the one who somehow like an advocate for peace because we know so much war at that moment it seemed so necessary, but along the history we found it's unnecessary. Especially lately, the U.S. declared war with Iraq, Libya, so many nations, and what's the result? Even nowadays, you see there's another
Yeah, of
crisis.
course,
The refugees from
And about yourself,
Syria.
your background? Yeah.
My background, I'm from Taiwan, and for the last decade, almost 10 years, I do so much social work, including held so many seminars for educational events, and also some activity to commemorate those American citizens who did so much during the Nanjing Massacre, during the Japanese invasion. So I would call myself a man semi-retired and devote my time to
Right.
what I think I
I
should
would
do.
say a man who made enough money, who has made enough money to
No.
retire at an early age with my admiration. Okay, now, all right. So much for the introduction. I believe lots of my audiences know him already as much as they know me. But in case, just in case, you just tune in, so for the first time now. Okay, now we're talking about the environment. Okay, now it is time when people finish celebrating the 70th anniversary of winning World War II
Yeah.
in Russia, in China,
Yes.
and in the United States. Even though President Obama didn't go himself to Beijing, he sent somebody high enough to represent him,
Yeah. As the
which
delegate.
shows somehow somewhat a support of the celebration or the commemoration.
Yes.
Right? Now that everything is over, is the task over? Is the call over? Right? Is there anything left for us to do to call on for peace? I don't think so.
Well, as for human being history, it's never over.
All right.
Always conflict. We are somehow should learn something from the past to know how to solve the problems. All the conflicts will not stop, but how to solve those problems, those conflicts, will really test our wisdom
Sure.
and how to
Exactly.
face it and how to solve it.
All right. Good. I do agree with you. I believe my audience will agree with me too. Even though for the celebration of the 70th anniversary of World War II is over, the task left over for us to continue engaged in is never over. And it will not be over, will never be over. As
No,
long as
it will
there are
not.
power, as long as there are conflicts, there is a necessity. I would say number one necessity to call for peace.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
The reason I started with this show with Mark was all because a letter from Washington.gov, Whitehouse.gov.
Yes.
The writer named Mike Breen, he wrote an article saying that we should learn from Iraq War.
We must.
We must learn.
Otherwise, all those sacrifices will be in vain. We should learn something from the past.
Sure. And that is this article is so heavy duty, and I would say that makes a wake up for us to realize that we, number one, at the wrong time, created a war for no reason, and yet we paid dearly.
For almost it's for a fake reason.
Yeah. And according to my homework, during the war of Iraq War, starting 2003 to 2010, when the war ended, our casualty total is 4,425. 4,425 young men and women in uniform died for the war. Okay. Question is, whose sons and whose daughters?
Family
Whose
members.
fathers and whose mothers?
Yes.
Whose friends? So they died. They died anyway, right? We're talking about death is, well, never
There are much
irreversible.
more than those people who sacrifice life. There are
And
so many
also,
disabled.
according to the National Defense website, the casualty for contractors is 1,487.
Wow, I didn't notice there are so
Right.
many.
That's almost 6,000 people died during the war. And the cost of the war, of course, and there is, according to the same website, the National Defense website, the total wounded is 32,223.
What to lose?
Right. And for that, the cost of the war, even the war has ended, there's a clock on a clock dial on the website. If you go, my dear audience, to check by cost of Iraq war, on page number 1, it will show you a dial that goes with the clock. My count is that every 3 seconds that goes by 100. $100 every 3 seconds, right? And on that, the summary says that every single day, taxpayers of the United States is paying. Let me find out for you, my dear audience, because I'm so sick about it, so sick about it. And it says here, all right, let me show you. And our taxpayers on the day-to-day base is paying more than 111,000 US dollars for the still increasing war costs of Iraq war.
Well, the battle didn't stop. Though the
Right.
war seemed well ended, but the battle
And the total
still
number
goes on.
per my last check, which is about 1 hour and 10 minutes ago, was 818 billion US dollars.
Oh.
818 billion US dollars. Now, if you recall, year of 2008, when year of 2008, when President Obama first took office, there was a kind of a stimulus plan, right? Stimulus plan. For that stimulus plan, the first move was $870-something billion. That means the amount of money is we spend in Iraq war, which is still increasing, would be enough to cover everybody and every family by the thousands.
Yeah.
So that is how much. Now, with that war, Mark, can you tell me, is Iraq better than before?
Well, everybody knows the answer. At least before the war, Iraq is like a nation. Now it's divided, fighting each other, different tribe, different religious believing, Sunnis and the others, fighting each other, murders, and the bomb. You know, those human bomb Almost this time at the police station, next time maybe a market. All the people being killed are the innocent civilians. That's the nation, that's the country. Now almost unsuitable for people to make living. So we're so bad, everybody can tell.
All right.
Much worse. So what's the result for the Iraq War?
Yeah. At this show, my dear audiences, I invite you or I challenge you, if you disagree with me, to go find out any positive information about the Iraq War, which indicates that the Iraq nowadays is better than the previous war. I mean, before war time.
Yes.
Right? So you compare Iraq today with the before and the after. See what significance have we made with the war that cost $818 billion, which is still increasing, in which we lost 4,425 soldiers, and we lost 1,487 contractors, and we have wounded 32,223 soldiers. And then on the Iraqi side, they have different polls, right? And they have the different numbers, statistics show differently, of course. I saw a range between 1,560,000 something of civilian death to 650,000. So within that range. So that is the war. So before and after, I invite my dear audience to go search and come back to me, write your opinion to tell me if there's anything that indicates that it was a significant war that made quite a difference or any difference. So you may write it to me, say, by sending it to email address tellmydj@gmail.com, tellmydj altogether one word at gmail.com, or you can even send me jack@edimediainc.com, or you can even send it to my personal email. Okay, these days when we speak about personal email, we always think about Hillary Clinton. Oh, and I'm okay. I'm not holding any public office. You can send it to me too, Jack, CSIJack@hotmail.com. You can send it to me, and I promise I'll put those together and we'll discuss about your opinions. So today, joining me in talking about the subject of learning from the Iraq War to guide us to deal with Iran situation is my good friend, Mr. Mark Liu, founder and the CEO of the Righteous Quarry Foundation. Yes. Right. So let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll keep finding why there is a call. Why? How come there's a call to undo President Obama's deal with Iran, to block the implementation of such deal with Iran, to wage, in other words, to wage a war like we did exactly with Iraq. So stay with us.